Hi YouTube. So I'm making a video now because I just realized something. So I'm like watching this guy, and he's talking about spiral dynamics, and as I'm climbing the spiral in his videos, I realize I understand all of these, and then he gets to the top of the spiral, and I realize, well, uh, that's strange. uh, and he goes on to more or less describe my position, and I'm realizing, and I'm like looking through my videos, and I'm like, I'm trying to like spread a spiritual community, I, etc., etc. So now I realize what's great about about these videos is not that he gave me something to aspire to, it's that he helped me understand my position already. And now that I know, now that I understand my position, a lot is sort of more clear to me. Like I have a better understanding of why I feel the way I do, and it's alleviated some of the internal struggle that I had, and that internal struggle necessarily entailed attachments to the world and things such as personal success and even fitness goals, relationships, but actually, because of MGTOW, I was prematurely enlightened about relationships. The red pill has made it quite easy to swear off the traditional relationship idea, which is great, but I was still struggling with sexuality. And after watching the videos, I realized how unimportant it actually is to me. Not to say that I spurn pickup and rue the day that I learned those skills. I think that you should learn them, but um, after you know how to use them, I'm not sure how necessary it is anymore. So there's that. Uh, Further, I realized that this was the big one for me. Realizing, because if you watch my videos, uh, then you're you're tapping into an unusual individual. uh, and I realized there's a reason that my content doesn't even appeal to, can't appeal, it can't appeal to enough people, uh, because my mind isn't like if you look at spiral dynamics, you can fully understand why or how you're going to get the most appeal. You're going to get a good amount of appeal if you do blue spiral, which is essentially religious proselytizing. You're going If you do orange, you're going to orange is very much. I mean, I would say that in YouTube terms, orange is just about everywhere. Orange is everything. It's the algorithm that succeeds on YouTube is orange, with respect to spiral dynamics, which is more or less personal success, sexuality, um, gaining money. It's all these normal. It's like the peak of sort of survival type of mentality. I mean, this is fitness, diet. It's even when it comes to veganism, you're getting a healthy mix of orange, uh, because you're looking at bodybuilders who are vegan. Um, so yeah, it all makes sense to me now. I still want to continue vlogging, but I think I'm gonna be doing it under sort of a different context than uh, I thought I was doing it. Uh, yeah, so I feel so self-aware. um, but yeah, and I think that the biggest change that I actually feel is I he had gone into pointing out that there are actually turquoise communities, because that's what I'm sort of looking at here. Uh, there are turquoise communities that exist, and I now I am beginning to feel as though uh, the limitations of reaching out in general have become quite stifling. I actually, to some degree, I'm sure that reaching out is hopeless. He said that um, turquoise people are 0.01% of the population or something like this. It's like the amount of people who actually inhabit this uh, rung of means. I think he called it something of means. It's so low. It's just, there's no, unless you go and then, well, I can go and I can follow a guru. I don't know. So actually, I wanted to include in this sort of a bio. Um, when I was 12 years old, I saw Fight Club, and uh, the exact same thing that happened to Jack happened to me. I think Fight Club is a very special movie, and I think the reason that it's special is because that movie can force you awake. If you're paying attention, it will force you awake with that fucking hand scene, the burning hand scene. Uh, I really was awakened at that moment, and from that point forward, was a constant battle with my parents about how, uh, more or less, I was arguing, though I didn't know it, for the futility of personal success and the rat race. So you know, all the adults in my life were, you got to get a nice job and make lots of money. Da, da, da. And I was always trying to say, like, this is stupid. I feel like a slave. None of this is cool. I don't want to do this. And, you know, I constantly got painted with the brush of someone who was lazy, with someone who um, just wanted to be a freeloader, which more or less the American culture is actually uh, sort of infected with a mentality that basically turquoise people are parasites, which is why I believe uh, America is spiritually bereft. It's quite a dystopian land for spiritualism. The best you get is a shadow of spirituality, which is blue, and it's rampant, with Christianity being, I think, 70% or something. And again, it's just that Christianity is a shadow of spirituality. It's not real spirituality. Uh, though I don't think it, though I don't think that you can't, or there aren't spiritual people in Christianity, just that the the whole thing itself is a farce. Uh, and you might find your way to spirituality through it. So again, for me, I found this Fight Club moment that changed my life, um, and uh, you know, I guess what made me run far away from Christianity was The line where he said, "We are God's unwanted children, so be it." And he says, "We don't need him." Uh, Now, all of that was just a stepping stone for me. Um, but it was an introduction, a meaningful introduction into spirituality, and uh, so yeah. Throughout my life, I've run into people who have acted more like followers, um, rather than friends, and I still regarded them as friends, but they acted like followers, right? And then there have been people who have outright uh, referred to me as a god and things like this, and I always found that quite odd, and um, that and sort of strange, not unduly placed in some respects because uh, I felt I felt simply more powerful than most people in life in many ways. Namely, if there's one quality that I have that has always seemed quite impressive for me, and I guess you could call it a supernatural power, and some people have observed me do this, as I've been able to sort of dominate other people into doing things, just literal mind control, um, and some people have said I saw what you did, and that really, I mean, people have literally said it's scary, and even I've been scared because I don't know what I'm going to make people do. uh, Sometimes. So, yeah, that probably sounds crazy as fuck to a lot of people, and I don't care. I just am aware. Uh, so, I've sort of been on this journey for a long time of, I guess, spiritual awakening, and I feel quite far along. Um, Even to the point where I guess the past few months, I've been sort of struggling with, not struggling, but um, how do I put it? The idea in my head has really been about. I mean, it's for a long time. It's been about minimization and um, getting, becoming less and getting and having less, sort of reducing my uh, just reductionism in general, total reductionism, uh, and uh, and it's been quite cool. But the 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 thought that's been coming to my mind has really been on becoming what I always uh, thought I might be. Even when I was a very young child, I thought I want to be sort of a magic kind of person, in a hermit in the woods, and I've sort of been moving towards that, and there's very few things stopping me. Uh, Namely, I would say that the most attractive thing about the world seems to be technology, uh, and the internet, um, and games. So, I mean, one of the easiest ways to pass time alone is to play games. Um, so I do that a lot lately. I just went on vacation to Sapa in Vietnam. I got a cool shirt and I got some bracelets. I got a cool scarf as well. Um, just noticing I have kind of a Rasputin look going on. um, well, so I look like Rasputin. All right, well, that's cool. So yeah, wow. I care so little about the world around me. My room is a mess, and I don't care. Oh wow. Sometimes I feel like I'm phasing out of reality. There's something they were talking about, where you become so enlightened you just leave your body, and at some point you just consciousness just evaporates into the ether into the infinite or something like that. Uh, oh wow. Um, this video is getting kind of long and pointless. So, uh, yeah. Oh yeah, here we are. Um, my my focus is sort of leaning towards. I want to find a place to set. I'm gonna do one of two things. So, just looking online, I'm sure this is just some kind of Masonic subgroup or something, but I found this uh, Fraternitas Saturni. Essentially, it looks like a magical order, uh, some kind of brotherhood. And I was thinking I might go find them. They're in Germany. Um, and it says, uh, I found this because I was just Googling definitions like I do. And I was Googling Templar, and I found this. And it says the DFS, or Fraternitas Saturni, the Brotherhood of Saturn, I guess is what, uh, adopts a system of degrees ending with the 33rd, which is why it makes me think that it's some subdivision of Masonry or something, as highest degree to reach this goal. The Lodge claims further no political or economical objectives, which lands right where I'm at. It propagates ideas of freedom, which I'm all about, tolerance, and fraternity. Uh, it says, today its purpose is in working on the spiritual evolution of humanity by means of development and advancement of the individual being. This is to be attained by mental and ethical schooling of the personality and complete mastery of esotericism and occultism. Uh, the Lodge is, as Gregorius states, concerned with the study of esotericism, mysticism, and magic in the cosmic sense. So, and it said somewhere, I was reading earlier. Basically, I was reading somewhere. Um, on here that it said more or less it, the ultimate um, basically the long-term goal of this organization is nothing but raising the consciousness of humanity. And so where did it say that? So, it says they departed from Crowley's teachings. How interesting. If I, if I'm correct, the Masons actually embraced Crowley and the law of Thelema. So that's kind of interesting because it means that they're separate. None of this. My only concern is it's not in English. I'd have to learn German. I actually don't really want to go to Germany because well, I just don't. I like Asia. Asia just suits me a little more, but finding turquoise people is challenging no matter where you go. I think I'm gonna shape up my beard a little, make it a little more. I don't know.